please welcome to the stage Israel's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Gidon Sa'ar.
Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting. Good evening.
As Alex indicated, you're responsible for maneuvering, for managing, for working with both Israel's diplomatic challenges, but I'm going to add an additional word: Israel's diplomatic opportunities. In the challenges phase, Israel has been for many years under attack at the United Nations, at the International Court of Justice, at the International Criminal Court, and all of that predates October 7th. Tell us, if you would, how is your ministry under your direction addressing Israel's response to the legal warfare that has been launched against not just the state of Israel, but the nation of Israel, the Jewish people, and key members of the Israeli government, including but not limited to the Prime Minister and the former Defense Minister?
So, let me give you the last example. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., we'll begin the discussion on The Hague in the last claim against Israel, initiated by Norway, adopted by the UN General Assembly, with regard to the UNRWA legislation and commitments of Israel to humanitarian international organizations as a whole, and so on and so forth. But that will be the fourth time that Israel will be brought to this court since the beginning of the war. I don't think there is any precedent for a democratic country or even to a non-democratic country to be brought time and again to the ICJ when legal procedure is the disguise for a political moves with a clear attempt to delegitimize Israel and to undermine its right for self-defense. So our decision is tomorrow. We are not going to be there on The Hague. But I will have a press conference on 11 a.m., and I will accuse the UN and UNRWA, which is supposed to be the case in the ICJ, because Israel shouldn't be on the defendant
in the dock.
Whatever. Israel should accuse, and that's what we are going to do. And of course, we are engaging these challenges, and it is very complicated. And as we also, just last Thursday, the appeals of the ICC, they said something very interesting, that the rush way in which an arrest warrants were issued against the Prime Minister, against the former Defense Minister, was done even without checking the basic issue of jurisdiction, of the authority of the court. Because if the ICC would have checked that, very easily they would have found that they don't have any authority over Israel. Israel is a country which is not a member state in the ICC. We hadn't signed on the Rome statute as much as the US hadn't. And it is ridiculous to have this kind of procedure against a non-member state there. So, but I think it's not a coincidence that they, and I don't want to say what will be finally, but I will say that there is only one conclusion which is possible from the pure legal point of view. And I believe that the sanctions and the executive order of President Trump was very effective in demonstrating that this kind of a ridiculous political institute, so-called court, cannot go on with the same methods. And I believe we have a very good partner in Washington. And yeah. And we had just lately another partners, like Hungary just announced. Hungary was the first European country to state they are quitting from the ICC. I came there on February. I just spoke with my colleague on the issue. They took a very strong and moral stance on that. I praise them for that. And we continue to do hard work in order to battle. It is totally connected to our right for self-defense, because all this legal warfare is aimed on how to undermine Israel's rights for self-defense. So we should be very tough and wise engaging with that.
A follow-up, if I may, on both your key points. First, regarding the International Court of Justice, we all know that in 2003, the UN General Assembly referred to the International Court of Justice the question of the legal consequences of Israel's construction of what is called the apartheid wall, which is really, we all know, 95 or 96% offense. In 2004, even though Israeli courts were dealing with the very issue of the impact of that fence, that wall, that terrorism fence, the International Court of Justice in July of 2004 labeled Israel to be in violation of international law. Although that was an advisory opinion, not only has that not gone away, it has become accepted by everyone. How are you and your ministry addressing this terrible blasphemy against Israel and the Jewish people?
So here's the thing. Instead of dealing with countries without a rule of law, without an independent judiciary, they deal with Israel. But the truth is that the Supreme Court of Israel dealt with that, and even sometimes changed the route of the fence, of the security fence there. So there was no point, and this is how they are undermining another principle of international law, which is complementary, because it is only relevant when you have a country that don't deal itself with those issues from the legal point of view. And now, just to understand, because we are speaking about the so-called courts, but eventually the Palestinians, with their political partners, they are behind all of this. And what they are trying to do, they are trying to minimize our ability to fight in the political battle. They, for example, sent the ICJ just previous year to deal with the legality of the occupation. We say there is no occupation, it is our land. We cannot occupy that. And it's not an occupied territories. At max, it's a disputed territories. But they're trying consistently to buy legal processes to get political results. But they will not get these political results. We said very clearly that from the minute we legislated the UNRWA laws, we are not going to cooperate with an organization that was fully infiltrated by Hamas, which so many workers of this organization participated in the 7th of October massacre, when we know Hamas operated and still operating from UNRWA installations in Gaza, like schools and other places. And so instead of taking care of UNRWA, the UN sent us to the ICJ, but we will not participate in this circus.
Mr. Foreign Minister, continuing, long before October 7th, at the United Nations, Israel was accused of being an apartheid, racist, criminal, genocidal state. Genocidal was a minor portion, but following October 7th, genocide with a big G became the mantra. It became the talk everywhere, from T-shirts to newscasters. As you see it, how can Israel, how will Israel address both the challenge but also the opportunity to tell the truth to the world that Israel is neither an apartheid, racist, criminal, nor genocidal state?
Just tell the truth. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Let's see. Israel, in this war, we were attacked from 7 different fronts. We hadn't initiated a war in any of these fronts. Not with Yemen, not with Iran, not with Iraq, not with Lebanon. We retaliated. Maybe we retaliated successfully, and this is the thing that bothers those who attacked us. But they had the genocidal intention. What they did on October 7 was genocide. It is very clear to see. So they start to describe us or what we are doing there as a genocide immediately after they tried to commit genocide against Jews, and quite successfully. I said previous week, which we had the Holocaust Day. What is the difference? What is the real difference between the Nazis and Hamas? Only the abilities. Because if Hamas could have slaughtered anybody in this country, this is their convention, this is their charter. You can read it, it's publicly. They are see it as a religious commandment, according to their interpretation, to kill Jews. It is a religion commandment to wipe Israel off the map, not in certain borders. According to their belief, Israel cannot be sovereign on any inch of this country, of this land, because it's a sacred Waqf territory. So Israel is under a genocidal attacks. We hadn't removed all the threats yet. We're still facing challenges, even today. But we were able, in a way, to restore the image of Israeli power in the region and in global, generally speaking, that was so hurted after October 7.
Thank you. 2 final questions, Mr. Foreign Minister. First, relating still to Gaza, the people who lived in Gaza, those who have family elsewhere in the world, those who have expressed a desire for freedom, those who have expressed a desire to leave, are being assaulted not just by Hamas, but by countries around the world who are saying, you don't have any right to leave. Even though refugees from every country can leave, you cannot leave. And how do you address the issue of the threat that Israel will be more accused of genocide because of an approach toward the voluntary transfer of Gazan citizens to elsewhere in the world?
Well, first of all, it's going in the same line that Arab countries mainly, but also not only them, use the Palestinians, weaponize them against the state of Israel. For example, legal definition of refugees is 25 years. Somehow Palestinians are refugees for 77 years. They have their own refugees agency. How come? So, because it was very clear that the Arab states shouldn't let them citizenship or an ability really to integrate in order that they will still desire to go back to Israel. So, in the same manner, they are trying to deny the rights of the Gazans, their free will or free choice to immigrate. And I'm saying very clearly, it's under two conditions. First, that a certain person or a certain family wants to immigrate from its free will and free choice, they should have been given the same right as any other person on earth, from Syria, from Afghanistan, or from any other place. And the second condition should be that there is a state which is really to accept on the other side. But if these two conditions are met, and I believe there is a chance for that, then it's the most moral and humane things to do for someone who thinks they are human beings and not seeing them only as a weapon against Israel.
Thank you. One word, if you would, about the Abraham Accords. What's the future?
Well, I first of all want to say the most important thing is to realize that today, after a year and a half, which was very tough war, with an effect on Arab public opinion, none of the countries that signed the Abraham Accords, or none of the previous countries who had signed peace agreements with Israel, now none of them retreated. All of them kept the agreements. Maybe some of them went to engage under the radar more than normal times. But I think it's very important to realize that, because this demonstrates that they define their own interest in normal connections with the state of Israel. And I believe personally that mainly after this war will be over, the camp of Abraham Accords, the camp of normalization in this region will go wider, just against the intention of Hamas when they initiated the attack on October 7th.
Thank you, Mr. Foreign Minister.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.